Aerial shot of a massive industrial alcohol production complex at sunrise. Trucks arriving at factory gates carrying raw materials, grains, molasses, fruits. Workers unloading sacks and crates onto conveyor systems. Close-up of high-quality grains being poured into weigh scales. Molasses being measured with precision for fermentation. Workers inspecting raw materials for quality and contamination. Digital panels displaying temperature, humidity, and storage conditions. Bulk storage silos filled with raw grains and molasses. Conveyor belts moving raw materials toward milling machines. Large industrial grinders crushing grains into fine powder. Workers monitoring grinding machines from control panels. Powdered grains poured into large mixing tanks. Molasses added to mixing tanks with automated precision. Water pumped into tanks to achieve ideal consistency. Industrial mixers blending raw materials into uniform mash. Sensors measuring pH, sugar content, and temperature. Workers taking small samples for lab testing. Mash transferred into fermentation tanks. Yeast being prepared in separate labs. Close-up of yeast cultures multiplying under controlled conditions. Yeast added to fermentation tanks to initiate alcohol production. Fermentation tanks sealed and temperature controlled. Time-lapse of fermentation process over several hours, days. Gas vents releasing CO2 safely from fermentation tanks. Sensors monitoring alcohol content and fermentation progress. Workers checking digital displays for optimal alcohol level. Fermented mash moving through large industrial pumps. Transfer to distillation units via pipelines. Stainless steel columns of distillation towers visible from inside plant. Mash heated in distillation units to separate alcohol. Vapors rising inside distillation columns. Condensers cooling vapor into liquid alcohol. Distillate collected in storage tanks. Temperature and flow sensors monitored in real time. Industrial control room overseeing entire distillation process. Close-up of alcohol meter verifying proof levels. Repeated distillation for high-purity alcohol. Workers sampling distillate for quality and taste checks. Transfer of distilled alcohol to filtration systems. Filtration units removing impurities and sediments. Activated carbon filters used to clarify the liquid. Multiple stage filtration, ensuring crystal clear alcohol. Alcohol pumped to aging tanks if applicable. Oak barrels or stainless steel tanks, storing alcohol for flavor development. Temperature and humidity carefully regulated for aging. Periodic sampling and testing of aged alcohol. Alcohol blended with water to reach final proof level. Mixing tanks gently stirring to ensure uniformity. Final quality control lab testing for alcohol strength and purity. Automated pH and alcohol content meters double-checking measurements. Bottling line ready for packaging. Bottles transported via conveyor belts to washing station. Automated bottle washers cleaning each bottle inside and out. Inspection cameras check bottles for cracks or defects. Bottles dried under controlled air jets. Filling machines dispensing precise amounts of alcohol into each bottle. Bottles moving along conveyor through automated capping machines. Corkscrew caps or seals applied accurately. Labels printed with batch numbers, expiry dates, and branding. Labeling machines apply labels perfectly aligned on each bottle. Bottles pass through inspection scanners for defects or missing labels. Bottles sorted into trays and crates. Robotic arms stacking crates onto pallets. Pallets wrapped in protective shrink film. Forklifts transporting pallets to cold storage or dispatch area. Inventory management software updating batch numbers and quantities. Trucks arriving at loading bays for distribution. Pallets loaded into refrigerated or temperature-controlled trucks. Doors sealed with barcodes and tracking information. Wide drone shot of trucks leaving the factory. Factory interior showing ongoing cleaning of processing areas. Workers sanitizing machinery and floors with steam and chemical sprays. Tanks flushed and cleaned for next batch production. Industrial UV and filtration systems, sterilizing air and surfaces. Supervisors reviewing production reports digitally. Night shift lighting illuminating the factory floor. Conveyor belts slowly moving empty bottles, ready for next batch. Time-lapse of continuous distillation operation in the control room. Close-up of sensors ensuring optimal pressure in distillation columns. Workers checking seals and valves on storage tanks. Blending room with multiple alcohol tanks in the background. Workers adding flavoring or additives if producing spirits. Bottles passing through automated coating machines for batch numbers. High-speed photography of bottles moving on conveyor lines. Forklifts stacking pallets in warehouse aisles. Digital screens showing shipment schedules and routes. Quality control lab testing random samples from production line. Workers documenting results and approving batches. Industrial packaging line operating efficiently in slow motion. Exterior night shot of factory with lights reflecting on wet pavement. Close-up of clear, filled, labeled alcohol bottles, ready for shipment. Drone pullback shot of entire factory complex. Time-lapse of trucks leaving for distribution at dawn. Workers performing routine maintenance on conveyor belts and machines. Wide cinematic shot showing factory and storage tanks glowing under sunrise. Laboratory technicians performing final chemical tests on alcohol samples. Packaging robots preparing special edition or bulk bottles. Inventory and shipment details updated on central control software. Clean factory floor with conveyors still moving, symbolizing continuous production. Final fade-out showing rows of finished alcohol bottles ready for the market.